Fall in love with 251 exclusive offers on the Citroën range at Hugo Luna Motors today. Explore our impressive collection of Citroën cars and vans, where advanced comfort, style, safety and reliability all come together. Order your 251 today and take advantage of low-rate finance, a €500 deposit contribution and avail of a free home charger. Book your test drive today at hugolunamotors.ie. Citroën. For everyone, like no one.
Citroën.
Health and Fitness with David Hollywood.
Hello and welcome. Lots to look forward to this week. We'll be starting with the Portlaoise Panthers. This Laois Basketball Club is, in so many ways, the definition of community. They have a massive weekend on the court coming up. You'll hear from the head coaches of both their senior women and men's team. Former Athlone Town player and current town coach Gordon Bresh is on with us to talk about the Irish Ex-Professional Footballers Benevolent Association. The new players' welfare group for ex-players is fundraising, and they've 3 massive names lined up for a very special show. And can you do 24 squats a day for 5 days? Doesn't sound too tricky. If you can, then why don't you do it for Epilepsy Ireland? We're going to have all the details. It is a massive weekend for Portlaoise Panthers. We are turning our attention this evening towards the Women's Super League playoffs. I'm very glad to say that the Portlaoise Panthers Women's Super League head coach Peter O'Sullivan joins us on the programme this evening. Peter, the playoffs, it's the Super League. You're going into the playoffs in good form. You're taking on Trinity Meteors this weekend. How excited are you and the players for this challenge?
Really excited. I suppose I'm only involved with them since Christmas, and we've had a good run of form since then. We're on a run of 3 wins, which had 2 away games, including the win against Meteors up there. So I suppose we've nothing to fear going up to Dublin to play them, and the squad are fit and healthy. So we're going through our last minute stuff to scout the team that we're playing, and hopefully it goes well on Saturday.
How much work do you have to put into, or how much consideration have you given to the mental side of things, giving the players the right messages so that when their heads hit the pillow tomorrow evening and each evening throughout this week, that they're resting easy, they're sleeping well, and they show up with as much energy as they can do on Saturday?
I suppose we've kind of changed things up the last couple of weeks, and we've got some of the players involved in scouting so that they know what teams are, I suppose how teams are playing, and I suppose what they're good at, and what we can actually capitalise on. So I suppose changing it up that way, the players have been more involved in it. They're realising, I suppose, they're experienced players anyway, but they know themselves then going into the game what they can do to get the best out of the team in itself, I suppose. So yeah. Listen, we won't leave any stone unturned going into Saturday. Again, if they play to their potential, they'll be well in the game by the end of it.
That's fascinating about getting the players involved in maybe assessing their opposition tactically and giving them that sense of constructive engagement in the game that they're taking on. If you feel coming out of the playoffs that approach has been successful, can you envisage players being given more responsibility along those lines in the game of basketball in the future here?
Oh, you'd imagine so. I know, from talking to the girls during the trainings after playing games, even the ones you lose, which you probably learn more from, they've all, by the Wednesday after the game, they'll all have looked back on the game themselves. I suppose the coverage that the basketball has in Ireland now with Basketball Ireland TV, players can look at every game so that the games are there on the system after the games, and you can get to analyse how games went and how their own performances. And again, I suppose you can look back even on games 3 months ago where players have scored high points, and how did they get it, and how can you change our approach to the game. So yeah, I suppose basketball in Ireland has come on a lot, that stats and these things are available to all the players. So I think they take an interest in it. They all want to win, so they're all willing to give that bit extra to get them to that point, I suppose.
Looking at the end of the regular season, you had a run of wins, some really strong success. I suppose the best run you've had in the Super League or at the top level of basketball in this country. What do you think the secret has been to getting all of these results and not just making the playoffs, but doing so in relatively impressive fashion?
I suppose Keith Conroy was coaching girls from the start of the year, and he had recruited during the summer last year extremely well. He brought in like the Lynn Tunna from Temple Oak, who has played at an international level. Ciara Byrne, he got her back from, I suppose she was in Dublin in college, still is, and he got her back. And Amy Dooley would have played Super League the last time we were in it, and she has came back. So the recruitment was brilliant at the start. So the squad is a lot stronger than it has been in a large number of years, I suppose. And I think just after Christmas we got the second American in place, Jess, who has been with us before. So I think just things have kind of came together right after Christmas. The girls have bought into what we're trying to do, and like I suppose we had a disappointing home game against Killarney, which we thought would knock us out of the playoffs, but to go and beat three teams that were ahead of us in the league has been phenomenal, especially last weekend when we bet the league champions Wildcats. So as I said before, there's nothing to fear for the girls going into any game now. They know that they're at that standard. They just need to be confident enough in their ability.
You guys have obviously been looking at Trinity Meteors, and you know them well from the regular season clashes. Talk us through the specific challenges they'll bring to the court this weekend.
Yeah, it's the fourth time we're matching up against them. So they've beaten us twice at home, and we've beaten them only 2 weeks ago away from home. So the challenges are that they match up very well against us. They've a big American in Emma Merriweather inside, so she'll cause us problems. And again, Morgan Lenahan is their second American, who has been with them now. I think it's their probably the third year she's here. So again, she brings a good strength to the point position. And then they're littered with Irish internationals of underage and senior standards. So yeah, there's nothing easy in this game. So again, we'll just have to put in our best performance of the year to get over the line.
Portlaoise Panthers is an institution in Laois. I think any casual sports fan knows at least that the Panthers are the foremost team in the region as well. How important will the public support behind your team be if they're to progress through the playoffs?
It'll be massive. I suppose the one problem we're facing this weekend is that we couldn't get enough of a timeline between the two games. Our men's National League team are playing at home at 7:30. While we're up in Trinity College at 5:30. So we're nearly splitting support, unfortunately, this weekend. We'll have our loyal support that always travel, I suppose, to the women's games, but it's kind of disappointing that we couldn't get enough of a gap so we could get to both games. But it is always a big thing. When the girls hear a support behind them, I think it rallies them that bit extra. So again, we would hope that we'd have a good travelling support while the lads are still playing at home, and that's going to be packed anyway, so we'll be happy to get half the crowd that they get.
Talk to us about the general mood around the Portlaoise Panthers. Like, I know from having spoken to yourself and Jack Scully and Keith Conroy in the past, there's a huge level of commitment from everyone based in the club to get the success that the women's side have achieved in Super League at this point, like, because obviously making the playoffs is that's a real achievement in and of itself. How much does this kind of season mean to everyone who volunteers their time and commits to supporting the Portlaoise Panthers over the course of not just this year, for the last number of years?
I think that can be seen in the support at the games now at this stage, whether it's the men's or the women's team at home. Only between 5-10 years ago, you wouldn't have the level of support. And it's actually not just within the club. It's great to see, I suppose, past players coming back that we wouldn't have seen. If I'm involved in the club over 30 years now, and I wouldn't have seen some of these people that have turned up this year back in looking at the game. I think it's been exciting for the club. It's been exciting for the teams to see the level of support that we're gathering, I suppose. And even the younger crowd that are within the club, it's great for them to be able to look up and see what's ahead, I suppose. Like the National League is phenomenal for the men's, where I suppose they've had their best season ever as well. So we've both had brilliant seasons. I suppose to finish out now will be to see both teams get into the Super League next year, and Stephen to get further into the playoffs. But yeah, like for volunteers within the club, like there is so many, and you get to start naming names at this stage. But I think all the work that's done behind it gets us to this point.
Then Just to finish off on that particular point, look into the future for us. Portlaoise Panthers were a particularly vocal part of the campaign to get improved sports facilities in and around Portlaoise for clubs like yourselves. The club is growing at the moment. Do you envisage it being able to continue to grow into the future, or is something like a new purpose-built sports hall a really crucial cornerstone of that potential in the future?
It is crucial. Absolutely. I suppose we're looking at having over 600 members at the moment. We're working through, I suppose, limited hours within different halls. St Mary's is brilliant because I'm part of the committee that's full at the moment, and we've good access to that hall. We're trying our best to get into all the different schools and utilise their hall hours as well. But again, there's restrictions on let's say the CBS School Priest Re Hall because it's a public-private partnership. So again, there's not enough hours, there's not enough time for each team to play. It's a complaint that all coaches will give every week, every day of the season. So yeah, we will be limited, and it's a case of it can't grow too much more than it is without having the facilities behind it, let's be honest.
Okay, let's finish up our chat with our attention turning back to the game this weekend against Trinity Meteors. Tip-off is 5:30 at the Trinity Sports Centre for anyone who can make it down and wants to support the Women's Super League team. Peter, if you could send out a message to your players right now, what would you be saying to them? What's the most important thing for them to bring onto the court this weekend?
I think they know that, I suppose, previous games, it's as much mental as it is physical. And just to go with what we've been doing, I suppose since Christmas we've calmed things down on the court. The girls know the I suppose the plays, the defenses, and all that kind of stuff. Again, it's just turning up on the day and giving their best, and hopefully it gets them over the line.
After the break, Jack Scully joins us to talk about the Portlaoise Panthers men's senior team and the latest step in their promotion adventure.
Health and Fitness with David Hollywoods on Midlands 103.
This evening we're celebrating the Portlaoise Panthers, and there is a lot to celebrate. Both the senior men's team and the women's team have made it to the playoffs in the Super League for the women and in the First Division for the men. Jack Scully is the men's head coach. He joins us this evening to look forward to Portlaoise Panthers against Moycullen. This is taking place in Portlaoise on Saturday evening. Jack, congratulations on making the playoffs. That was obviously something that you guys had in the pocket from a few weeks back, but really a brand new test of what you've managed to put together on the court over the last couple of years when it comes to the playoffs. Another chance to have another stab at the playoffs. What's the mood in the camp?
Yeah, excited, David. Like playoffs was obviously one of our aims at the start of the season, and it's just something you really want to be involved in. Like we spent many a year looking from the outside in, so it's just great that last year was our first year to make the playoffs, and then this year we've done it again, and yeah, just really excited to get going. Obviously I kind of break the season down into three different competitions. You have a regular season, your national cup, and then your playoffs, like, you know, and we've been very competitive too, so I'm hoping the same happens in this one, you know.
Now, your position heading into the playoffs was relatively well set for a while, but your players managed to keep on putting in the performances that got wins as the regular season closed out. You must have been happy with that.
Yeah, we had a really tough 3 weeks around the cup final. You know, we lost to Limerick Celtic twice, and then we lost to Drogheda Wolves, and we lost 3 out of 4 games. But since then, we've really knuckled down them. We've gone unbeaten, and we have been on paper the form team of the country over the last 2 months, like, you know, and we have, I suppose, the cup final showed to us while we are good, there's definitely areas we could improve on, and we've kind of highlighted them areas and worked on them specific areas over the last couple of weeks. And yeah, look, winning is a habit, like, you know, and while we wrapped up first position in our conference a month ago with 4 games to go, we still wanted to win the last 4 games because we just know how important winning is, like, you know, and from a team that up until last season wasn't particularly competitive, we still have a huge appreciation for every win we get in the National League, like, you know.
You won by 22 points against Moycullen at St Mary's Hall the last time you guys faced each other earlier this month. I imagine that will give your opposition plenty fuel for the fire when it comes to figuring out how to beat your side. I imagine you're trying to prepare your players for a more focused or a more threatening Moycullen side.
I have absolutely no doubt that the team we play Saturday night will be anything like the team we played a couple of weeks ago. Paul O'Brien is an Irish head coach. His players have experience playing Super League. I have no doubt that they will be an extremely well prepared team for Saturday night. So I suppose our message for the last couple of weeks has been that this everyone's 0-0 and they have nothing to lose. It's knockout basketball, and on their night they can beat any team in the league, and that's the way we're going to treat them, like, you know.
From your own personal perspective, how much do you enjoy managing the players in that regard? Like thinking about the way a player might think when they come up against a certain opposition or come into a certain stage of the season, and then trying to encourage them to think along the right track or to give them constructive feedback and instruction so that they can become better players on the court. Talk us through that process from your own perspective.
It's a piece of learning for me, Dave. Like, you know, it's something you never know everything about. Like, you know, I suppose since I took over the team last year, the biggest challenge I've had is trying to treat each player as individuals. Because what I have realised is that the way you might speak to one player mightn't work for the next player. And last year we got Kieran Lillis in to speak with the team a few times around performance and the mental side of the game, and it really helped. And this year, like myself, I spend a lot of time outside the training, ringing more experienced coaches and asking for their advice on how to handle different situations. Because in terms of basketball, I've been on basketball for 25 years and coaching for the last 16 years. But in terms of coaching high-level athletes, it's where I kind of lack experience. So that's an area that I'm always trying to improve on, and there's still massive improvement to be made there. But it's something that's hugely important when you're playing a high level sport, like, you know.
I think they say wisdom isn't knowing everything; it's knowing to accept that you couldn't possibly know everything, so you're in a position to keep learning.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely, yeah.
In terms of this weekend, then, what's the most important thing for Portlaoise Panthers to deliver a performance? Like, what's the thing that you want to see from your players first and foremost when it comes to the game?
Defense. Defense is every standout performance we've had this year has been down to defense, and I think last week's game was a perfect example of it against Carrick Cruisers. They were extremely efficient in the first half to hit 54 points, and we spoke about defence at half time, and we really were asked them defensively in the second half. They scored 17, and that was the sole reason why we won the game and why we won it so comfortably, you know. And we kept Moycullen to 66 points a couple of weeks ago, and we won by 20. And every game we have kept the team to 70 or below this year, we have won by 15 or 20 points. Like, you know, our offense, with the talent we have offensively, will look after itself. It's all about defense for us, and we get massive energy from getting stops, and when we get stops in defense, we get out in transition, and when we get transition basketball, we're usually very hard to stop. So it's all about defense for us.
Let's talk about the bigger picture here. What would it mean for the Portlaoise Panthers to get promoted to the Men's Super League? Like, the men's side has sometimes, I suppose, operated in the shadow of the success of the women's side, who have been more of a fixture in Super League basketball. How big an achievement would it be for the men's side to get up into those higher echelons of the game?
Huge. For the men's club to come from where it's come from. Like, you know, when I started in the club in 2000, I was only 10 years old. We had 4 boys teams. We had 9 or 10 players in each team. We had 4 coaches. Like, you know, we had less than 40 men boys players in the club. And to see us now where we are nationally in terms of underage basketball, kids making Irish teams, and then to be so competitive in the National League. Like, you know, when I played National League, we were not competitive. Like, you know, we were bottom of the table year in, year out. We never made playoffs. We never had a cup run. We were never competitive. We were just one of the teams that made up the numbers. And to see the team grow, and for the core of the team to be the same over the last 6 years, it's great to see. Like, you look at the likes of David McAfee, he's 22 years old, in his 4th year National League, Liam Kinsell, Gary Morrissey, James Phelan, Conor Byrne, like all these lads have been playing National League basketball for 6 years, but they're still only 23, 24 years old, like, you know, so to see the development of the club and see it go full circle, to be competitive on a national stage, it's huge, and to get to Super League basketball is something that we never ever would have thought possible, like, you know, but over the last 2 years we've kind of started to believe that this could be that we can do it, like, you know, and I haven't shied away from it this year. Our aim this year was always to get promoted from the National League, like, 'cause I knew the squad we had was capable of doing it, so that's still the aim. So if we fall up short, we fall up short, but the aim is to get to Super League basketball, and I feel with the underage structure, with the governance we have in the club, with the people we've involved, I think we're a club ready to go Super League.
Yeah, and I think you've underlined a really important part there, that regardless of the outcome of this season, the structure's in place. The club is focused on creating the environment where promotion can happen, because ultimately on the court, like, getting promoted to the Super League is so hard. Looking at all other games, all other sports in Ireland, in terms of securing promotion, it's such a huge test, and the successful team has to go through so many challenges, regular season and through the playoffs. Your side has already sustained disappointment in the playoffs last year, and then obviously the National Cup final disappointment as well, and you still managed to get the team back up and running and performing at a really high level. How important is that sort of bounce back ability for the players and for yourself?
Yeah, I have to be shy about this, and in any meetings I've been on with Basketball Ireland, I don't agree with the structure of the league. I don't agree that a season can be 22 games long and only you get no reward except for a home quarter final for coming first or second after a 22 game season. I feel you could, like Limerick Celtics ourselves, could win 96 or 97% of their games this year and neither get promoted. Like, you know, I just feel it's a little bit cutthroat. But you are right, it is the toughest league in the country to get out of. It's the hardest league in the country to get out of. But if we manage to do it this year, it's great. But if we don't, I've no doubt we'll be back there again next year because of the structures we have in place, because of the youth we've coming up. Like, we already have the likes of Jaden Nume, like Killian O'Connell, Cormac Howson, Desmond Obegbay, Luke Kavanagh. All these kids are already involved with the National League training setup, like, you know, so they're ready to make that next step up, like, you know, and there's kids below them again ready to go again, like, you know, so we're not going away, and it's all down to the work that's been done at underage level, and you know, so that's what makes me most proud about our journey, is that we have the most homegrown players of any team in the National League. No one comes close to us in terms of numbers of homegrown players that are playing minutes at National League level and having big impacts on games, like, you know, so that's the proudest thing for me anyway, as someone that's come up through the club himself, like, you know.
Yeah, a real community club in that respect, and the community has always been really good at backing Portlaoise Panthers. They're going to have to go an extra mile or two when it comes to this weekend, because the Women's Super League team are playing in Dublin only a couple of hours before you guys tip off in Portlaoise, so you're going to get a separation of support in that respect. But I imagine you're hoping that whichever side people come out to support, that they can get behind the Panthers and give you guys a brilliant atmosphere in St Mary's Hall when it comes to the game this weekend.
Yeah, like, the community over the last 5 years, Portlaoise Town has really kind of got behind the club, and now I see it week in, week out. I see people of my age or older that never had an interest in basketball that are coming to games. They're stopping me on the sheet, they're stopping me on the street, asking how the team are doing, when is the next game, how do I get tickets. That they travel down that Saturday night, it was something they really enjoyed, and they'll be back again. So look, it's just great for someone like me that's been around when basketball was seen as a minority sport in the town, to see it really hold its place there now with GA and soccer and rugby and all the rest. So yeah, it's proud, and I'm really happy to say I've been a part of it, like, yeah.
Johnny Giles, Liam Brady and Niall Quinn. They're all throwing their support behind the newly formed Irish Ex-Professional Footballers Benevolent Association. Athlone Town's Gordon Brett is next with all the information about an important few weeks for the association.
The French know luxury. Discover the all-new 251 DS automobiles range at Hugo Luna Motors. Experience pure driving pleasure with DS Automobiles, the French luxury car company. DS's premium range stands out through its charismatic style, interior refinement, sophisticated technology and first-class comfort. Book your test drive today and discover the magic of DS Automobiles at hugolunamotors.ie.
Health and Fitness with David Hollywoods on Midlands 103.
Next on Health and Fitness, we are returning to a story that we have covered previously. This is about the IPFBA. That is the Irish Ex-Professional Footballers Benevolent Association, an association that does really good work in helping former players in this country who may have fallen on hard times, who may just need a little bit of assistance. But what they're doing is they're asking for our assistance in supporting the players that you would have cheered on growing up, the heroes from your club, be it in the Midlands or beyond, that may need a bit of a dig out now. A member of the Irish Ex-Professional Footballers Benevolent Association, former Athlone Town player and current Athlone Town coach Gordon Brett joins us this evening. Gordon, thanks very much for joining us.
Not at all. Thanks, David, for giving us the opportunity to promote the work that's been done by the association.
Yeah, look, as I prefaced there, really great work that you guys do as the association. Before we get on to the events, actually, you might just remind people about what the IPFBA do exactly and who you guys are working for.
Yeah, we're working for ex-professionals, and it's a new organisation, so very much in the embryonic stages, and we're just about to start some fundraising initiatives, which we'll speak about in a minute. But initially, I think the plan is that we would provide kind of care for players that have, particularly with health issues, that may need respite to help families out. And I suppose as hopefully funds go up and up, we may be able to do more for the members. But so at the moment, it's really primarily focused on players who might have just fallen maybe health difficulties, or for families that need a little bit of respite for somebody who mightn't be in the best of health. And I said that scope will broaden, I suppose, as more funds are available to us.
Very good. Obviously, if this is a new initiative, there's probably a fair bit of catch-up for the association to do once you guys get up and running. Maybe some people who really are in need of support. It'll be a busy first few months for the association.
It's possible, yeah, but there'll be an national group will be appointing external people to adjudicate on what can be provided to people within the scope of the funds, within the scope of what the individuals might need. And it's a tricky enough area, but it's just the fact that if we can get the organisation, there's two things we need to. Obviously, we need to raise funds, but we need to raise awareness of the association and what we do, and get as many ex-players signed up as members. And it's really about ex-footballers helping out ex-footballers.
We'll touch on maybe some of the very high-profile ex-footballers that are supporting the association shortly. But generally speaking, when you're talking to former footballers about this association, has the reaction and the mood around the idea been very positive?
Yeah, I think there's pretty much most of the League of Ireland clubs are on board at this stage with ex-players. And you know, there's a couple of fundraisers coming up in some of those clubs very soon, but nearly, I know Felix Healy and Peter Hutton joined from Derry City recently. You know, so there's clubs all around the country, and as you mentioned, there's some big ex players there that would have been League of Ireland legends down through the years, and even their profile alone should help with the fundraising drive.
Yeah, let's talk about that fundraising. Bucket collections are taking place across the country over the course of the next few weeks. Talk us through what's coming up.
Yeah, Galway United are going to kick off the Galway group. Galway United have given access to the ground for their game on the 4th of April against Shamrock Rovers. Now, they also have a little bit of a reunion because in 1985, Galway United lost the FAI Cup final to Shamrock Rovers. So some of those players are all going to meet up on that date in Galway. And there'll be a couple of us from Athlone who are ex-Galway players will be down. Michael Sheehan, myself, Conor Fortune, a few guys around town. Will hopefully be there to help out on that night at the bucket collection. And then here in Athlone, El Clasico, as you know it, David, Athlone v Longford Town. It's the bank holiday on Easter Monday, the 20th, Athlone v Longford. We'll have our own local Athlone group. Some of the Galway guys are coming to help us. Johnny Mannion and a few who played for both clubs. Jerry Daly, who's very involved with the Galway group as well, will be down. Then we have Derry and Shells on May the 2nd. And I say Derry have recently just got two of their big names there, Felix Healy and Peter Hutton. They don't come much bigger than those names in Derry football. So those guys, their home game against Shells, which will be a massive game on May the 2nd. And Dundalk v Bray on May the 9th is the next one. But there's a separate event then in Vicar Street on the 28th, Monday the 28th of April. It's called the Three Wise Men. So it's kind of a conversation and chat between Liam Brady, Johnny Giles and Niall Quinn. So that promises to be a very, very good event, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of stories told.
Yeah, that's fantastic. There's loads to look forward to there. It strikes me as well that, as you mentioned, there's a number of players who will have played, for instance, for Athlone Town and Longford Town. There's so much history between the likes of, say, Galway United and Shamrock Rovers in terms of that reunion. The community, the League of Ireland community, there's a huge amount of familiarity amongst the generations when it comes to football in this country.
Absolutely, and what's really been interesting for anybody that's got involved so far is just there's a little bit of fun around it as well. There's a score settled verbally anyway, at least this time. But it's great for some of these guys to reminisce, and I'm on the younger scale of the players involved in this, but some of the guys, my heroes that I grew up watching, like Dennis Clark, Harry McHugh, they both won league titles with Athlone in 80-81, and they were my heroes growing up, and it's brilliant to see those guys now connected and working for their ex-pros and their fellow ex-pros and friends, really. So it's been good. It's been a great initiative, and it's as I said at the outset, it's very much in its embryonic stages, but it's something that we hope will definitely develop. And the FAI have given some support as well and helped out at last year's FAI Cup final when Drogheda beat Derry. And they give access to a lot of ex-pros there, and so they're fully behind helping out this initiative as well.
Yeah, great that the likes of Johnny Giles, Liam Brady, Niall Quinn, the event's been branded the Three Wise Men Talking Proper Football. It's great the three of them are throwing their weight behind it as well. That evening in particular, I imagine that promises to be a great night's chat about football from three men that have proven themselves, obviously, on the pitch, but in terms of their reading of the game and their ability to talk about the game, the lads have made a name for themselves in that respect as well.
That's for sure, and they've all pledged and already given the association some jerseys that they would have worn themselves or they would have swapped to put up on kind of auction and for a draw that night. And those tickets are available up on Ticketmaster. As I say, the three individuals that are there's a huge wealth of knowledge of the current game, but also the game back as far as the 70s when Gilesy and these lads were playing with Leeds and Manchester United, and Liam Brady, his experience in Italy after Arsenal. So it's really good, and for the younger fans as well, maybe to just learn about. We don't have too many Irish internationals now, I suppose, playing at that level nowadays. And having that longevity at that top level. But these guys have been there and done that, as has Niall Quinn, and I'm sure his World Cup stories will be interesting as well.
Mother Teresa and all of that. Look, I'd say that promises to be a cracking event. I'll recap the dates for anyone just so they can be across it. So the 28th of April, Monday, is the Three Wise Men event at Vicar Street between Giles, Brady and Quinn. And then we've got Bucket collections across the country over the next few weeks, starting with Galway United against Shamrock Rovers on Friday, April 4th. There'll be Bucket collections for the Midlands El Clasico, Athlone Town against Longford Town on the 21st or the 20th of April. Actually, I'll just double check that on my calendar in front of me now. That's the 21st of April.
21st, yeah.
And then Derry and Shells on the 2nd of May, and Dundalk and Bray. So nearly every corner of the country getting behind this. Gordon, while I have to touch base with you on Athlone Town. The senior men and women's teams have been starting to pick up results in both leagues. Athlone Town look relatively well set to make a decent defence of their women's Premier Division title, and of course I suppose the big word on the horizon for the men's team is promotion, and of course the resumption of their campaign to try get up into that Premier Division at a time when League of Ireland football hasn't been in a stronger place for a long time.
The League of Ireland game it's no longer the problem child, David. I think
it's the only thing that's working at the moment.
Well, yeah, you could argue that point, right? But to be fair, the League of Ireland game in general is getting stronger and stronger. Attendances are really good, and some clubs actually, like the Pats and Bows and those, they're probably landlocked. They need to actually either get new stadiums or develop what they have. You saw the Bows Rovers game at the start of the season, 30-something thousand in the Aviva. I mean, Dalymount would have only hosted a fraction of that crowd. So we just hope we're on the crest of a wave in terms of League of Ireland. Some really good quality footballers on show, and in the first division, and obviously with Athlone. Last couple of weeks, things have been good. Couple of wins, great win against UCD last Friday night. It was a really solid performance, and there's signs there that Athlone will start making that promotion push, hopefully. And on the women's side, as you know, I'm involved with the women's team with Colin Fortunes, our manager, and I'm coaching with Colin. We've had a solid start. We got a decent enough draw away last week to Shamrock Rovers. We finished the game with 10 players. We probably felt a little bit harshly dealt with on the red card for Kelly Brannon, but the girls dug in, got a brilliant draw, and had a great win against Wexford. And we have a nice game against Cork this week, and they had a very good win last week. So it's going to be an exciting game on Friday night, or Saturday night, in Athlone here for the women. Yeah,
well, look, the very best luck with all that, and I think that point regarding facilities is the real issue here. The league can make giant strides forward if we get the capital funding in place and the investment in place to make every ground in the League of Ireland family friendly, inviting, with good capacity, and somewhere that's nice to grab a coffee before, during or after. Gordon, the very best of luck when it comes to the competition on the pitch, but more importantly, the very best of luck with everything regarding the Irish Ex-Professional Footballers Benevolent Association. Anyone listening, if you're tipping down to League of Ireland grounds, look out for the book of collections, and you do have the option to pick up tickets for the three Rise men. That is Brady, Giles and Quinn at Vicar Street on the 28th of April. Thanks for your time, Gordon.
Brilliant. Thank you, David.
Next, we're doing body resistance exercises to raise money for Epilepsy Ireland.
Health and Fitness with David Hollywoods on Midlands 103.
Welcome back. Our reporter Jack Irwin is back with us to wrap up this week's show. He's been talking to Paddy McGeoghan from Epilepsy Ireland about Purple Day and their squat challenge.
So basically, we're asking people to, first of all, I suppose, register for our challenge on our website, www.epilepsy.ie, and commit to doing at least 24 squats per day across March 24th to March 28th. In the middle of that, our biggest fundraising day of the year, Purple Day, takes place on March 26th. So yeah, it's a fun way to get involved in the organisation, to hopefully raise funds for us as well. Communities are getting involved, clubs are getting involved, families are getting involved. And I suppose with every squat, you can help raise funds for the work we do across the country, and I suppose spark the conversation about epilepsy as well, a condition that is much more common than people think. And you know, every conversation about epilepsy that is had helps people learn more and understand more about the condition and those living with it. I suppose just to highlight as well, the reason we're calling it the 24-hour squat is not that we want you to squat for 24 hours. It's basically to highlight how epilepsy is a condition that people live with 24 hours a day. It's a lifelong condition, has its own unique challenges, and you know, people living with it can overcome these as well, obviously. But you know, it can be a challenging condition, and that's why we want to set a challenge that highlights that as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely makes sense, Paddy. And then I suppose it is important as well to highlight that people of all fitness levels are encouraged to take part. Yeah,
of course. Listen, if I'm potentially going to be taking part, then it's certainly everyone of all fitness levels is welcome. Yeah. Obviously, you can, you know, if you want to kind of up your target from 24 for those who are of a more elite level, of course, we're not going to turn you down for that reason. But yeah, all fitness levels, squats in a general sense, is not a bad exercise that everyone can do, I suppose. And like there is adaptations that can be done to it depending on your mental levels as well. So it's hopefully something that everyone can get involved in. It is nice, I suppose, to see through the last couple of weeks people signing up as teams, signing up as families, signing up as workplaces even as well, and then individuals as well. So like it's something you can either do by yourself or, you know, get a couple of guys together over the weekend if you're out and about and say, why not do this? And yeah, it'll be a great way, as I say, to help spark conversations and hopefully raise funds for us as well for the work we do across the country.
And you mentioned, Paddy, at the start, I suppose, the prevalence of epilepsy. Like, I'm just looking at some numbers here in front of me. So over 45,000 in Ireland that, you know, currently numbered to have it, and, you know, 10 to 15,000 people living with uncontrolled seizures as well. And then as well, just looking at a stat here as well, I have 870 people living in Laois as well with the condition. So I guess, they are stark figures, and how prevalent it actually is.
Certainly, yeah, no, it's often those figures. I suppose that's why we use them. Now, listen, they are estimates based off kind of studies that we've done in previous years, and married against the current census figures. But yeah, I suppose the key thing to highlight as part of that is that epilepsy is much more common than what you think. A lot of people have a very kind of set version of it, of his person, that is people having regular seizures, and that's it. And it's rare, and it's something you're born with. It's just not the case, I suppose, is something we really like to highlight. It can happen at any stage of life. It's much more common than what you think. It's not just about seizures. People may be seizure-free but still living with epilepsy. I.e. they're taking their anti-seizure medication, and that itself can have its own impacts as well. But, as I say, through this challenge, I suppose what we're hoping to do is highlight that that epilepsy is much more common than what people think. And it's really, really important that people take a minute out of their 24 hours to go and learn more about the condition as well, because there is so much information on our website about it, and really vital information that we feel people should know as well.
Exactly, Paddy. And I suppose with them numbers, they are quite high. And, I suppose the awareness levels in the country, do you feel like more needs to be done? Obviously, a lot is being done at the moment to increase the awareness. But do you still feel, I suppose, more awareness does need to happen?
Of course, yeah. Definitely, and that's saying that as someone who's obviously working for Epilepsy Ireland. We're obviously leading the charge on most of the awareness pieces that do happen across the year. But would we like to be doing a lot more? Of course we would. But some of it is obviously that we need people to take that step as well, and actually, heed the calls, realise that it's much more common than what people think, and actually come to our website and learn more. Because when the way I've kind of described it to people as well in the past is if you start kind of stepping out your circle in terms of family, friends, colleagues, teammates, there is people with epilepsy within that circle, whether they've disclosed it or not. And then another important point of that awareness piece, I suppose, that is important to mention as well, is that people living with the condition obviously need to feel like they're included and are accepted. But unfortunately, there is still that challenge out there. But the more people start speaking about their own personal connections to epilepsy, be it through a family member or be it through a lived experience, that really, really helps in terms of actually increasing awareness of the condition and helping stimulate those conversations as well. But yeah, listen, to kind of end on a positive as well, things are moving in the right direction. We have so many young people stepping forward now who are so open about the condition and will speak about it to their friends, their families, to social media, share their stories on our channels as well, and it really, really creates that ripple effect in terms of the conversations being had. So yeah, a lot of work done, but a lot of work to do. I think that was a very famous political slogan a couple of years ago. But listen, we'll steal it for this, but we can't, as an organisation, can't rest on our laurels, and we'll be certainly continuing to raise awareness, because there is so much about epilepsy that people need to know and understand as well.
100%, and obviously having these fundraisers is obviously vital, in helping that. And I suppose what are the levels of state funding at the moment?
Yeah, so our because of the way the service, what they call the service level agreements work, they go year on year. So I suppose I'm giving you a circuit now. The last year's funding is up on the website if anyone wants to kind of go look at the very, very specifics. But we'd always say an estimate of then around 50-60% each year is state funded. Now that's taken like the last 10 years. So obviously there's while totally appreciative of the state funding we get and really depend on it, we're fairly finely balanced. I think it was last year, the last available calendar year, we had 1.5 million come in and we had 1.5 million go out. So it's very, very, very finely balanced, and that's why it's so vital that we need the public support to help continue that work, help expand on that work, hopefully in the future as well. But yeah, every euro donated is so important for continuing everything we're currently doing, and giving us a scope to potentially look at to do more in the future.
Just touching back again on the fundraiser, obviously it is happening next week, and it is running, I suppose, around the same time as Purple Day. And just for the people maybe that aren't aware of what that means, if you just want to touch on what that is.
Yeah, so Purple Day is it was very much started organically. It is an international epilepsy awareness day, and organisations across the globe over the years have got involved in it, and use it as obviously a fundraising day as well. But how it started was actually a young woman from Canada. It went into school one day, decided to hold an event. She's living with epilepsy, and called it Purple Day, because purple is the international colour for epilepsy, because the international plant for epilepsy is lavender, and lavender is seen as a symbolization of isolation. So it's all that theme that a person with epilepsy can feel isolated because of their condition, and that's where it grew out from. It started off, as I say, as a community event in Canada, and it literally just took legs and has grown into this international event from that. It's a really, really lovely way to kind of show support as well. Literally wear purple next week. Obviously we're appealing for donations to help continue our work as well. But that's the history of Purple Day. We've taken part in it since, I think it was 2017, just slightly before my time. And year on year, it's great to kind of see community events. Sorry, just to mention as well, like the squatting challenge isn't the only thing that's going on as well. We have people doing, coffee mornings. Some people are doing like marathons for us hooked into Purple Day. There's loads of other stuff happening throughout the country. People are signing purple wristbands for us as well. So yeah, there's so much going on all across the country. And I suppose, any support that people can give for us in Purple Day would be fantastic. Finally, just the last way I can say people can get involved. We will be sharing a couple of stories next week as well of people who have used our service. Our service can be difficult sometimes for people to understand because of how personal it is. So we will be sharing stories of people who have actually had diagnoses of epilepsy and how our community resource officer team, who are dotted all across the country, have helped them on their own personal journeys. So even if you can keep an eye out for them, follow our social media channels, give them a share. It can really help people understand the impact of epilepsy, first and foremost, and then the impact of the work we do in helping people along their journeys with the condition. So the key centre for all of it is www.epilepsy.ie.
That's perfect, Paddy. All the best with it and all the future projects that you have in store. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Great. Thanks a million, Jack, and have a good weekend, everyone listening.
Thanks for your company over the last hour. We'll be back next week. Joe Cooney is next with Country Roads. Have a good weekend and take care of yourself.